All right, today we're going to dive into a really powerful communication tool. It's called the Pragmatic Wrapper. Now, this is for anyone who works with data, with AI, or honestly just wants their message to actually land. The whole idea? It's pretty simple. Don't serve raw meat. Let's get into what that means.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in this situation? You've done all the work, you have the facts, you deliver what you think is a crystal clear, logical message, and the person you're talking to just explodes. They get emotional, maybe even angry. It's so frustrating, right?
I mean, imagine you're using some kind of tool, maybe an AI, to audit a project, and this is what it spits out. It's totally accurate. It's efficient. It is the cold, hard, logical truth. So you think, perfect, this is exactly what I needed. And you just forward that message straight to your client. And what happens next? Bam, your phone rings off the hook and the person on the other end is furious. They're not even talking about the facts anymore. They're reacting to how you said it. You've just taken a simple, logical problem and turned it into a massive social one. Why does this keep happening?
Well, it's because you're suffering from something we could call robot breath. You took raw logic that was designed for a machine and you tried to feed it directly to a human who is absolutely wired for emotion. You forgot a really, really crucial layer in between.
So, how do we fix this? The solution is a really practical thinking tool called the Pragmatic Wrapper. And you can think of it like a translator that sits right between that pure logic and very real human emotion.
Here's the core idea. The Pragmatic Wrapper is basically a middleware layer. Its whole job is to take the raw, unfiltered data, we're going to call that the meat, and wrap it up in social context and an empathetic tone. And we'll call that the bread. This way, your message actually gets heard without watering down the facts. And this brings us to a super helpful analogy that makes this whole thing stick. The sandwich. It's a brilliant way to illustrate the two essential parts of any effective communication.
Okay, let's break this down. First, you've got the meat. This is your logic, right? The hard data, the unvarnished truth. It's the core nutritional value of your message. Then you've got the bread. Now, the bread doesn't add any new facts, but it gives you the social context and the empathetic tone that makes the meat holdable and digestible. I mean, you wouldn't just hand someone a fistful of raw steak, would you?
So this kind of leads to three types of communicators out there. You've got the bread sandwich, you know the type, all fluff and pleasantries but no real data. Then there's the pile of meat, all facts, zero tact. That's our robot breath problem. The goal, of course, is to be the operator and create that perfect sandwich with just the right balance of both. Okay, let's make this super concrete. We're going to take that harsh AI output from our first scenario and see exactly what it looks like after we apply the Pragmatic Wrapper. Just look at the difference here. The raw output is brutal. Failed, missed deadline, withhold payment. It's a message that just screams conflict. But look at the wrapped output. It takes the exact same facts and presents them diplomatically. It starts with some context, it explains the situation professionally, and, this is the key, it ends with a collaborative, forward-looking statement. And this is the most important part. The truth is still there. The project failed its deadline. Payment is absolutely being withheld. Nothing about the core meat has changed at all. All we've done is change the delivery so the message can actually be heard and acted on instead of just reacted to.
Now, I can hear what some of you might be thinking. Okay, but isn't this just manipulation? Aren't you just softening the truth to get what you want? And that is a totally fair question. So it's really important we talk about the ethics here.
The key distinction is between adaptation and manipulation. Manipulation is when you hide the meat or you lie about the data. That's not what we're doing. Adaptation, which is what the Pragmatic Wrapper is all about, is simply serving the meat in a way that ensures it actually gets eaten, that the message is accepted and understood.
Look, at the end of the day, your job as a communicator isn't just to transmit a signal. It's to make sure that signal is received. If your raw, logical message makes the other person shut down or fire you, then you haven't communicated effectively no matter how correct you were. So, what's the simple takeaway here? How can you start using this idea right now, especially if you're working with tools like AI? It's a really simple two-step process. First, get the unvarnished facts from your tool. Get that pile of meat. Then, in a totally separate step, you ask the tool to wrap that output in a specific tone. Make it diplomatic, empathetic, professional, whatever the situation calls for. Separating these two steps is key because it stops the AI from accidentally softening the facts themselves.
Here's another cool way to think about it, especially for your own personal communication. The pragmatic wrapper can act as an empathy prosthetic. For those days when you're tired, you're stressed, or you're just struggling to find the right words, it helps you communicate clearly and kindly without all that extra emotional work.
So, if you remember just one thing from all this, let it be this. When you are communicating important, fact-based information to other human beings, please don't serve raw meat. Always take that extra second to wrap it.
This concept is just one small part of a bigger framework called simplified technical programming. So if you want to explore more practical thinking tools just like this one, you can find the source material over on Gumroad. Thanks for tuning in.